I think we can call to order. Let's do that. I will start by acknowledging that we gathered this evening on the traditional lands of the Dena'ina Athabascan people who for more than 1,000 years have been and continue to be stewards of this land. It is with gratefulness and respect that we recognize the contributions, innovations, and contemporary perspectives of the Upper Creek and the Dena'ina people. Roll call. Megan, you're here. What have you been reading lately?
Yes, I am here. I have been reading The Loneliness of Sonia and Sunny.
Novel?
Which is a novel. It is by Kiran Desai. It is about kind of a family saga of two families, the Sonia's family, Sunny's family. And it seems like they're going to be happily ever after, but I haven't finished it, so I don't know for sure.
Well, don't give it away anyway.
Yeah.
I don't see Olivia, and she hasn't written anybody. Okay, Jen?
Yeah, so I'm reading Indian Country by Shiva Rao. And it's set in Montana, but it's about the main characters are a couple that is from India in Montana, right? So it's this play on words with Indian country and kind of the intersection of these cultures. And it's
Last name is
Rao, so R-A. Okay.
Mark?
So Marjorie saw me at the library last Friday, and that day I browsed through the audiobooks and I found Killers of the Flower Moon. So I listened on my drive to Kenai and back. I listened. And when I was in Kenai, I went to the Kenai library. I got a graphic novel on the artist Goya, which was really cool. So putting a plug in for, there's very cool educational graphic novels in the libraries. Check it out.
Wade.
So I just picked up a copy of Remarkably Bright Creatures, which I'm rereading. I read it when it first came out, and now Netflix is coming out with the movie version in May, so I wanted to reacquaint myself with it. And I picked up this book, Creepy Embroidery, for my wife.
That looked interesting, yeah.
She's into crafts, so
Cool.
she doesn't embroider, but I think she'll get a chuckle out of the book.
I just finished for the second time my favorite Louise Erdrich, which is last report of the miracles at in one word, something no horse. Last report of the miracles at Little No Horse, which is a fabulous book. If anybody's read Louise Erdrich, this is one of her very, very best. She's Ojibwe. She is funny. She's amazingly funny. She writes about troubles and people and has no judgment on anything. shares inner voices moving. I'm a total Erdrich fan. Okay, we have an agenda. And if you look for approval or revision, looking at you, Wade.
Oh, yes, I wanted to bring up something about my daughter. You want me to do it now?
No, let's put it in. You said new business?
Yep.
Okay. Anything else? Would someone like to make a motion to approve the agenda as amended?
I make a motion.
Or haven't do their amendment or?
Do we have on the agenda, monthly discussion of recruiting?
I think we're gonna include it under board report. I think, is that what we said last time?
I can't remember.
We'll remember to do that. Okay.
Okay. But I can give you an update on the board report.
Sounds fine.
To approve anybody?
I approve.
Wade, is there a second?
I'll second.
1 seconds, I move to approve the agenda as amended. On favor, say aye. We have the minutes from the last meeting, if you have a chance to look at them.
Yep.
Second,
A second.
second, all in favor of approving the minutes of the last meeting, say aye.
Aye.
Minutes are approved. I don't have any public here, so I am assuming there's no public participation. So John, it looks like we have already reached the point in our agenda for John Ebron to speak to us about collection development.
Yes.
All right.
I'll attempt to do a flash drive thing. I don't. Yeah. Well, I think this is for the mouse. Okay. I can do it as the mouse person. There we go. Hopefully I didn't break anything. Ugh. Do. And
There you go.
sorry.
So does your mileage meet approval? Do you need to vote on it?
Just airing off business. So when we find out you have a secret to like Teletubby addiction.
I hope not.
Yeah. They're creepy. That big baby head is awkward. So I heard you guys had questions about not collections. What department do I work in? About collection management. And I was tasked with coming down and talking to y'all. And I like talking about my job, so that also helps. So I wanted to quickly run down the 5 W's of collection management. I've got like a weird thing on here. Let me brighten the screen as a button for that. Outlive. All right.
Who, what, where, when.
Yeah, exactly. Who, what, where, why, and when, and or in any other order.
Oh.
Unable to see?
Somebody's in the lobby.
Oh, okay.
I'm going to assume Olivia because she's not here.
Yeah, I can wait while you let them into the lobby.
Okay.
Oh, hi. I'm waving to no one because the camera's not facing me. But yeah, so I'm going over real quick over the 5 W's of collection management, the who, what, where, why, and when. Who remembers who, what, where, why, and when? I remember from my schooling days. It's also a framing device that I tend to use when I'm doing presentations because it's fast and easy and helps me digest information, which is probably why they used to teach it in school. But it's also just one of my favorite framing devices for when I have to do anything, because it's just an easy way to throw together information. But starting from the top, it just happens to conveniently be there. Who? I got this lovely picture off of our website because I wanted something to reflect the people that I work with. And these are all library staff, including me. And so the who I am is part of that. And I am John Ebron. I am almost said my old job. I am the collection development librarian, formerly the teen services librarian. So if this seems weird, juvenile, or comical, it's because I'm used to doing presentations for teenagers. But I am currently the collection development librarian, which basically means it's my job to select library books and also weed library books to a certain level, and sort of be like, I sometimes like to call myself like the head selector. I'm not really, for those watching at home, I did air quotes, the head selector, but I'm not really. And then who are the other people? The other selectors are other library professionals. We used to have a centralized selection method where all of the selection for materials were done by like a very few library staff, I think 3 people, which is um insane personally to me to think of like 3 people responsible for selecting all the things that go on our shelves. We've recently decentered that, so now we have a bunch of library professionals across all the branches selecting for all different collections and locations. I like that a lot better because one, it provides different library professionals who might not have selecting experience with some chance to learn how to do selecting because it is a skill, a professional level skill for us. But also, oh, am I not sharing the screen? These are very good questions. No, I mean, I'd rather be, Mm, minimize that.
Hearing. Taking this point of
So many screens. Oh, you know what? Here we go, share. My bad. All right. Is it sharing? Sweet. Okay. For those just now joining, hi, I'm John. I'm the collection development librarian. I was just going through, I've got things in front of me. It's always technology. Yeah, pop that one up. Okay, that's fine. Let's wing it. Yeah. As long as I'm able to control it. But yes, but I agree with the idea of decentralizing the selection for the reasons I stated previously, but also since we are a branch librarians, we have branches, it affords libraries that are more familiar with their community to know and have more control over what's going on the shelf. Because what works at Eagle River might not work in Mountain View and vice versa. So it's good that we have librarians at different branches communicating with the public and also communicating with each other over what works and what doesn't work when it comes to the individual collections. Hey, it worked. Awesome. I was worried it wasn't. So what? That's the next slide. So as in, what do we select? Mostly books. Surprise, surprise. I know that was a stunner for some of you. But yeah, so it's mostly books is what we select, but we also select other materials. Audiobooks, including playaways. For those who don't know, playaways are an audiobook that's contained on just an MP3 player instead of having you to switch between numerous individual discs or tapes. Those are very popular, especially in our juvenile section. So you have like all of the Wimpy Kid on one book. And you just, for those, you just need headphones and a battery. We also have graphic novels that get selected, including manga or manga, however you pronounce it. DVDs, which is one of the sections I select for, and our downloadables, which includes the ebooks and e-audiobooks available through Libby, uh, Hoopla. Yes and no. So, but the ebooks and audiobooks through Libby, our databases and our databases, the magazines that are available through Hoopla or no, through Libby, and some of our other sources are on standing order. So for those, we don't, unlike the other collections, we don't have a person who individually selects specific titles. And the library pays for a subscription so that way you have access to their collections. So that's how Hoopla works. We're like, I don't know specifically what's on there, but someone at the fine people at Hoopla is in charge of curating those, and we just have access to whatever it is that they have, which is awesome. I just love having options. That's my thing.
You also select like science kits and some of the things like book club. Like I know I've checked out before book club books that have like 12 copies of the same book to share.
So I don't, and I love that because that fills in a blank that I completely forgot because I can't see my notes.
Okay.
But no, someone is, yeah. So we do have a librarian who's in charge of selecting materials that go in like our numerous kits. Because I know Youth Services has like 3 or 4 different kits. They have lap sit kits and storytime kits. They also have the STEM kits, and all of those have different methods for selection, but those don't fall under the specific purview of collection management department. Those fall under those specific departments. So like Adult Services has like their activity kits, and there's a specific librarian who's in charge of those. Same goes for the STEM kits, and a lot of those are actually I think a few of those, and they'll have a stick that indicates we're by donation. So that I think I'm trying to remember who's in charge of that specifically since I've been here forever. Yeah.
Oh, that'd be
somebody.
cool. Cool. Okay.
Yeah, so some of the youth services would know more about the entire process because those that program, along with all of the kits, were like spearheaded and are the brainchild of those specific departments. They don't go through collection management, though they do have to work with us in regards to getting it into the catalog and into the system, so that way everything works and you can put things on hold and check them out and all that stuff. But still, that falls under selection, which is something that, and also materials in general that we do check out. Libraries across the country check out all sorts of things. There's libraries that check out farming equipment, which I think is nice. We don't do that, and we are not planning on it anytime soon, as far as I know.
I was at a library in Massachusetts. They had all these music instruments they check. It's like, wow, who knew?
Yeah. Libraries aren't just books, and that's one of the best things about libraries is we try to reflect our communities and their needs. Who, what, where? Let me see if I can't move that out the way, I don't think. But that's fine. You see the pretty picture. That's the important part.
Or minimize.
Or minimize.
I don't think it's right. I'm the show. So where do we get our materials? That's what the rest of that is. So where do we get our materials? Mostly we get our materials from a contracted book vendor, which is typically like, who here heard about the big kerfluffle with with Baker and Taylor? And I just saw an article that apparently they're going chapter 11. Surprise. But yeah, so like something like a big company like that, and I was quoted in the ADN article about it saying that like Baker and Taylor going out of business would be like John Deere going out of business. Like it's the company that provides, it's like Staples or Dimco. Like they're the people who do the thing. I always joke that Dimco's never going to go out of business because they're the ones who supply to all the libraries for like books, for like supplies and tables and carts. But so usually we get our stuff from like a contracted book vendor, which falls in line with all the rules and regulations given to us by the municipality. They're the ones who decide that whole process. Other than that, we have Amazon, Barnes and Noble. That's how we kind of like fill in any holes or any gaps that aren't able to be met by our contracted vendor, and we do that through like direct orders through Amazon or like a shopping trip with a Barnes and Noble. Or Nobles. I put the S there just for fun because it's a lot of people add the S. Again, I mostly do presentations for teenagers. And we also get a good amount of our materials from donations from the public. When people often donate to the library, they're clearing out their closets, or some people will like specifically buy, like, I'm done with this book, I'm going to donate it to the library.
What I do is I look at books, I check, if there's a book I want to read, I'll check to see if it's in the library catalog, and if it's not, I'll order it from Amazon, read it, and then I donate it.
And I do the same thing. I do I move like 4 times in the span of like a year, and I'm like, I'm not carrying books all around, and I want the library to have it because I'm not going to keep it. But yes, I love that. I love doing that as well. It's a great use of a book when you're done with it. It's just to donate it to the library. And Currently, we don't have a contracted book vendor. And this came up in the ADN article about Baker and Taylor going out of business. Was everyone in library world was scrambling to get a new vendor. A lot of people, I think like Follett and Ingram are like 2 of the other big names, and a lot of people were like scrambling to the point where like Ingram wasn't taking any new clients. Luckily, at the time, we had not a full contract, but like a limited contract with Ingram, so we could purchase some things from them, but it wasn't a full contract, which is the preferred thing. I think right now we're going through the process of trying to find art. I can never remember the art. Yes, the acronym for it. Yes, and it's all in line with the municipality's rules and restrictions for spending money. I mean, and that's not just actually for the big vendors, that's actually for smaller ones too. We're able to do direct orders through Amazon because the municipality already has a contract with Amazon in general. So that's that. So we're working with that, but we're making do by doing a lot of direct orders through Amazon, doing trips to Barnes and Noble, and already Amazon is kind of like just in general filling the gap. They've I feel like they're making moves to take over because they're working with libraries, and I think they started a whole new department or division or wing of Amazon that's like Amazon for libraries. So they're adding their name to the list of people who are trying to fill that.
Well, there's a market gap, and so naturally they would.
Yeah, nature and business hit the floors of pores of vacuum. But that's where we get our materials and why. Still doing the W's. So why things get selected or deselected. Why things get selected easy because they fit into our collection. You know, they're a popular book or movie. It's well reviewed, or you know, it's something that's been requested, which is always my favorite. I love it when things get purchased, when things go through the suggest a purchase process, and why things are deselected or weeded into the gardening picture. I also, as a library professional, like to think of my collection as a garden. That's often how librarians see our collections, because our collection is a living collection, much like a garden. Things have to be added, things have to be taken out. Things, unfortunately, do have to be weeded, just like, you know, which is not disparaging against those specific titles or items, but if those things are taking up, you know, space on the shelf, you can't see the awesome stuff that you want to see because there's so many other things there. In a perfect world, we'd have all the space in the world and wouldn't have to get rid of anything, but we are a living collection and it lives, it grows and changes to match, you know, our patrons and their interests and their needs. So sadly, we do have to deselect things sometimes when they are no longer popular, or when they have low checkouts, or sadly, if they're damaged or just ugly. I know the adage, don't judge a book by its cover, but unfortunately, we all do it. And so when that happens, we do, you know, we start the deselection process. And
So when you do the book requests,
Mhm.
I assume you get way more book requests than you have budget to buy the new book,
yes,
because I know I've put some on it. But from now on, I'm gonna do what you do. I'll just buy it. I haven't gone it.
always appreciate that. Yeah. But yeah, so like we have restrictions when considering suggest a purchase. We have restrictions based on like just for me the biggest one is can we get it? Like, is it something that's available through our pre-approved vendors? Is it something that we can possibly get through a direct order? Is it like the price reasonable for us to get? Because one of the advantages to having a contracted vendor is we get some steep discounts. We get like usually, and I can't speak for every contract we've ever had in the history of time, but in my 10 years as a selector for Acres Public Library, usually it's about like a 40 to 50% discount on hardcover and paperback trade cover books. So, you know, these are a lot of factors like that. Also, does it fit into our collection? Do we already have something similar? Do we already have that title ordered and it just hasn't arrived yet? Because a lot of times that will happen. Where people will suggest something and then I get a special warm feeling when I'm like, I've already got that ordered. I'm ahead of the curve.
A question about the weeding. So one of my
Yes.
coworkers, since he knows I'm part of this board, he said, well, why sometimes our books, in certain areas or genres, like he goes to the travel section a lot, he likes to travel, and he said it appears to him that there's less travel books than there used to be. Did we weed out more travel books than we used to, or like, I don't know, he wanted to go to Indonesia or somewhere and he just wasn't finding books out of it.
No, that's a good question. So weeding is trying to not to make it a long answer, but weeding for nonfiction, which travel section is, has different rules than weeding for the fiction section. A lot of fiction books will get weeded. We have those like our system will weed out anything or put on a list anything that has low checkout. So anything that hasn't been checked out in like 2 years ends up on the weed list, and then that list gets sent to the selector or person responsible for that collection, and they make the final decision to like either weed it or give it like a stay of execution. Maybe it just needs to be put on display, or maybe it would do better at a different branch and we just move that, or maybe we don't need 5 copies. We can disperse those throughout the other branches. With nonfiction, the general rule of thumb is, since with nonfiction you want current up-to-date information, the general rule of thumb is anything that's like older than 10 years. You just weed and try to replace with something new or more current. So typically things like the travel books, often with those falls under like kind of 2 camps. When it comes to like nonfiction with the travel books, is that's the kind of thing that we would have like a standing order with like Lonely Planet or one of the other like, you know, big names for travel, where like if they aren't making them, then we're not getting them. So travel, I don't think actually has a specific, I think that falls under 900s. I'd have to check my notes and see who's in charge of that section. But I would say to your friend, just like put in a purchase, select a purchase request for that, and they'll like be like, oh, I need to get more for this section or for this specific like region of the world. Because I know a lot of those in 300s, not 300, sorry, I select for 300s, for the 900s, for the travel section. That's the kind of thing that like Lonely Planet would just send us a few of those. But if you have any blank spots, please tell us. That's one of the things I love about Suggest a Purchase is that, and unlike me being like, I know exactly what the people want, like, please just tell me what you want. I love Suggest a Purchase because it means at least one person will for sure check it out, as opposed to the rest of selecting, which as much skill and training as we have in it is, there's still a level of guesswork to it. People might not like this.
They could have been checked out. I don't know, but if they looked on the catalog, then that would be different. But if they didn't walk through the shelf, yeah, like, I don't know. Wrong.
So the answer is
Yeah.
that it shouldn't really have changed over the years. It should be.
Well, I guess the answer is like it's not always in our control, but things like that are like a standing order. Sometimes they don't send out, or they're just not making anything new. It might be the newest book about Belize might be from 1995, and it might be checked out. Maybe I guess Belize hasn't changed that much. I don't know. I have never been, but also that's Margie, you bring up a very good another thing that happens often with Suggest a Purchase, or a reason why we don't select something isn't because we don't want it or we hate it. It might be just we already have it and it's just checked out, and the person didn't see it on the shelf, or they didn't, or as much as I love working here, our catalog is sometimes a but. I mean, it is. It can be difficult to use and navigate, even for me who works here. So sometimes you might if you don't type in exactly the right word, it doesn't auto generate. And I'm prone to misspelling things, so it hates me. But yeah, so that's why we select things and why we deselect or weed things. And I always like to mention that we select for the patrons we have, not for the patrons we want. So we do look a lot at the stats, so we can kind of tell, like in genre, like which authors are popular, which authors aren't popular, what will and won't circulate, and we try to like get everything that serve the broad audience, which is Anchorage. But at the same time, if you see like there's a lot more of this particular author, I'm like, that's because that author gets checked out.
Several years ago, like of this one or a couple were in our collection. And I know that some of those questions went back to this process. And I think, I'm sort of guessing at this point, but I think that the people that were having trouble with it would be happy that the selection process expanded over more people. I think it was a really small number of librarians. So spreading that out kind of helped people understand that response to community was part of the deal. And
I mean, that definitely helped. There was in fact a time where I think for all of the all the adult books were being selected by 3 people. There was one person who did nonfiction, one person who did fiction in databases, and another person who did all of the media, including audiobooks. And it's to the point where like they couldn't do anything else because they were so busy spending every month like adding to the collection and weeding the collection, that they couldn't focus on other aspects of their jobs. One of the other like fun things about my job is like, for me, selecting is my job, whereas all the other selectors, it's just a facet of their job. It's just part of it. I think cumulatively they spend like maybe a week of their month working on their like shopping list, as it were, before they send it to us to compile and make the big order. But yeah, so that was a factor. And I also, without my notes, remembering, since you mentioned that, thank you for bringing that up. That also makes me think of material reconsideration. Yeah, request for reconsideration, which does not fall under CMS or my job specifically. When the process is completely different from a regular weeding or deselection process. A committee is formed, people talk, there's discussions. picture like 12 Angry Men the movie in stage play. I imagine I've never been on one of the book selection points. Yeah. But yeah, so it's a whole different process having to do with people feelings and talking and where things should go. And deselection is more about like, I'm looking at numbers, I'm looking at stats. This isn't moving. Why is it not moving? Is it a subject matter that's not popular? Is it an author who's not popular? Is it the book is ugly and I could just replace it with something that's prettier? Is there an updated cover? This makes me think of, there was a coming of age teen book that was written like the early 90s that very much looked like, it was like everyone's wearing sweaters. It was like the cover, it was like like Blossom, the TV show. The artwork was just not current for the 2000s Gen Z audience. But luckily, they had republished them. So I was able to replace that one with newer cover art that was a lot more relevant, a lot more eye-catching, and suddenly the book started circulating. So sometimes it's as simple as that. Yeah. So before being before being the teen librarian, I worked at a high school, and we had the same problem where there's so many like books that had like the artwork was like of someone wearing like a sweater or something like that. And I actually had a student ask me like, why is everyone wearing something? Like, the 90s were a lot colder than now. It was this whole thing. People were like worried about second ice age. It was yeah. Sweaters were the thing. I don't know, layers. It was the whole thing, and it's definitely not Alaska. So I don't know. But yeah, so like, or sometimes just like, oh, well, this isn't doing well here, but this specific author's books do better at Eagle River. So let me move this, I'm not going to say it, a Western, out to Eagle River because they do gangbusters out there. I also select for Westerns. So so yeah, so sometimes it's just a little tweak, or sometimes it just needs to be put on display because it's stuck on the shelf with a bunch of other books and people can't see it because that section has been weeded. We weed not as frequently as we would like to because we have a bunch of other responsibilities, but general rule of thumb is like once a quarter, we try to go in and weed our collections. So that way the freshest, newest, best tomatoes are the ones you see, or like best books, sorry, gardening. The best books or the books that are like new and interesting and the ones that people tend to check out are easier to find. Wait, why? What's next? When? So I had to. This isn't super relevant. You don't super need to know this, but it was 5 Ws. Who, where, why? I had to get a win in there somehow. but like, when do we typically order our books? In a perfect world where everything is going great and we have a current like contracted vendor, and the sky is blue and Mighty Casey hasn't struck it out. In the perfect world, we would be selecting typically. All the selectors would send in their specific shopping carts in the beginning of the month, and then my boss would merge all the carts in together and then send that order out. And we typically try to order 2 to 3 months in advance. So we're looking for like anything that's being released 2 to 3 months from our current month. So it's March. It's March, right? Yeah. So it's March. So we will be looking to select titles that are coming out in like May and June. Well, April, May, and June, but mostly May and June. Presumably February, we would have already selected things that were coming out in like March and April. And we do that for 2 reasons. One, because Alaska is really far away. So we like to give publishers time to mail stuff to us, even before it's supposed to be, released to the public. But it gives us like that month to 2 months for things to reach us, but also it gives our technical services department time to physically process all the books that are coming in. So because they need time to like put the stickers on, put the stamps on, laminate, and not laminate, but like Mylar cover all the things that are coming in. Pretty much all the things that make a store book a library book. They need time to do that, especially since the pure volume of books that come in. I think we just had a shipment of like over 2,000 books come in. That's a lot of time. That's a lot of work. And also mentioned in the ADN article, there's no way to not touch a book 16 times. If you have to touch it 16 times, you have to stamp it specific places, put in specific labels, specific security devices. There's no way to do that faster. There's no way to. If you're gonna have to do it, we're gonna have to do it. So by ordering 2 to 3 months in advance, we give everyone enough time, or at least hopefully the appropriate amount of time, to physically process the books, to digitally process the books, get them in the system. So when you scan them, they actually do something and are part of that catalog and all that. Also wonderful back of house stuff, all the ones and zeros, and then out onto the shelf in a timely fashion. I mean, the dream is to get it on, like to get like the new, James Patterson book on the shelf when it's supposed to come out that Tuesday. But the reality is sometimes we're off by a week because of the shipping, processing, all that noise. But that's also great things that come with having a contracted vendor is sometimes you can negotiate things like, hey, could you guys stamp the book for us? Or could you put on like the spine label so we don't have to do that? So these are all things that come out through your negotiations and the bonuses of having a fully contracted vendor, as opposed to just like direct ordering things on Amazon, because they don't do that. They'll also ship things all willy-nilly. If you've ever ordered anything like a bulk through Amazon, oh, our socks are here. What about the chips I ordered? They're coming tomorrow. But I ordered them on the same day. It's like warehouse foolishness. Like, so we don't have to deal with like 1,000 different packages of books coming in. We just get big shipments. So that's more or less the win. Another win is muni spending restrictions. That's another thing that we have to deal with. Anyone who deals with the muni knows it, or any big, money handling organization, they have times when you cannot spend money. For us, I do believe the last day that our P cards and various other funds are accessible is December 10th-ish. So just as a rule of thumb, we don't select books past November 15th-ish. And we kind of just try to play catch up in January. So if you ever like look in the shelves and notice it's February, are there no books from like December yet? And like they're coming. We kind of have to like play with that pattern a bit. But no one's spending money, no one's selecting books past November, a certain date. And then we can start back up again in the next like fiscal quarter or year or whatever. And these are all, again, things that we deal with because we're part of the municipality of Anchorage, and they have rules as to how money is spent, appropriated, allocated, other polysyllabic words. And we do our best just to work with it so we're able to function and bring books, DVDs, Blu-rays, and other such materials to the public. Oh yeah. Yes. Because back in my because if they find out you can do it on $3, they'll give you $3. So we try to spend our budget, sometimes spend a little more, just to show that like we need the money, we need the funds. Just look how much we spent. Look how much people are like really getting the things that we provide. Yeah. And so that was who, what, where, why, when, how. Haha, I snuck another one in. Yeah. Evil genius. But yeah, so how, this is a very popular question I get a lot as a collection development librarian, or just as a general selector for the Anchorage Public Library, is how do we find titles? Professional journals is the big one. So we have subscriptions to Publishers Weekly, Kirkus, Library Journal, and some other like Voya, some other that are more specific to different age groups or interests. Ones I'm not on the list to get because I don't select kids' books, so I don't need School Library Journal. I know there's one specifically through our media vendor, Midwest. They're the ones who we select all of our DVDs through. They have their own specific like catalog that they send to us. So professional journals is a big one of how we find out stuff. Vendors curate lists themselves. Another bonus of having a contracted vendor is we have access to their whole system, and they have professionals usually that will curate lists of like the hot ticket items, beach reads, like the hot 100 for December, not December, for like January or whatever. And then that's a good starting off point. I know with Baker and Taylor, they used to have like a curated hot list of new titles that I used to like every 12th of the month. I used to like look forward to looking at that because it's just a good jumping off point for what's coming out in the next like 2 or 3 months. Suggest a purchase I've already mentioned, but that's honestly my favorite suggest a purchase because again, the fact that someone went through the arduous task of finding it on the website, filling out the information, at least hopefully giving like a reason why they want it, tells me that at least one person is interested enough to check it out when I get it. So that's usually like if something's suggest a purchase, there's a good chance I'm gonna get it. There's a good chance that all the selectors are gonna get it. I train most of them. That is a great question, which I did not have in my notes. So thank you, Marjorie. But yes, no, we do reply. Our general rule is because if you've ever done a suggested purchase, at the very bottom it asks, "Would you like to be contacted, whether we get this book or not?" And our rule of thumb is yes, we contact you. We will contact you. Part of the process is you give us your email, and I literally will copy and paste that into another email so I can just not mess up my email. I will literally click on that, opens up another email, and I'm like, we're getting this or we're not getting this for XYZ reasons. We have like a whole like set of rules on our reply. And generally, if I can get it, I'll get it. But we do try to contact. And side note, I find it heartwarming when I get a thank you back. Thank you email. You don't have to reply back to my email. You don't have to, but it's always nice. I'm like, thank you. I'm like, make my day. So yeah, suggest a purchase. Social media and word of mouth is a big one. I don't know if you guys are aware of like Bookstagram, which is like the Bookstagram or Book Talk is like these hashtags, these whole sides of the internet where all they do is talk about what they're reading, what they want to read, what's coming out. There's a lot of authors and a lot of authors, famous and new, who are on social media talking about their books. There are a lot of people who review books. Like their whole thing is on their pages. They talk about what hot books they're reading, what authors and conventions they've been to. So scouring those is really handy as far as like keeping your finger on the pulse and knowing, what the new, I don't know, John Green book is coming out. I bring up John Green. Because I was specifically on vacation, enjoying my day, and then John Green decides to announce to the world, like Beyonce, that he's dropping an album or dropping a book, apropos of nothing, no advertisement, just saying, next month I'm coming out with a book. And I'm like, ugh. So I just emailed myself a note. It's like, when you get back to work in 4 days, it's like, get 20 John Green books. Because as all the selectors learn, as I've trained them, it's like, because a lot of them are unfamiliar with selecting and are nervous, I say, when you get familiar with it, as you get familiar with the collection, you will note authors that it doesn't matter what they write. Like John Green could sneeze into a bar napkin. I'm getting 20 copies. Like it's gonna move. Like there's just some authors who like it can be dribble, doesn't matter. They just released a book. I gotta get it because someone's gonna want it. So there are those authors that you recognize, and those authors are the same authors that you follow on social media. You follow them on Facebook. You follow them on Instagram.
Who's John Green?
John Green is
I'm serious.
no, that makes sense. John Green, yeah, he's a that's a very good question. Again, I was a teen librarian for many years. He writes mostly YA books.
Oh,
YA coming of age books for teen boys is mostly what he writes. I'm trying to think of like looking for Alaska is Turtles All the Way Down. He's got 5 or 6 books under his belt. But like again, if you
we're not his demographic.
Yeah.
That's why we didn't know.
yeah, but if like was it yeah they used to yeah. And he's very big on social media. I think him and his brother have a YouTube page. And again, so like social media, word of mouth, those are big ones. And just personal experience. Like I love fantasy and sci-fi. So when Jim Butcher, a fantasy author, comes out with a new book in his Dresden novel series, I'm hey, Megan, you select for fantasy. You know this is coming, right? They just announced it's coming. I follow him. You don't follow him on Instagram? You gotta follow him. So like, or our selector who selects for all the graphic novels is also a big nerd in her own words. So she also knows all like the comic books and graphic novels that are coming down the pipeline. She's able to look at the collection and be like, we don't have enough Ant-Man and they're about to make a movie or like something like that. So she's able to, from her personal experience and interests, know what her collection needs. If I was the person who selected for 600s where all the cookbooks were, I'd be like, we need more Cajun books because I like cooking Cajun food. Mm-hmm. So things like that. So we bring our whole selves to our jobs, but also that's a great way to note things that we might be missing. When I was the selector for the YA collection, I one day just going through my collection, I'm like, I don't have a lot of Christian fiction books. And I was just noting one day, like sections I like, things I like to read, fantasy, sci-fi. And they're like, I don't personally read a lot of Christian fiction. And I'm like, there's not a lot of on the shelf. Let me go do something about that. So I personally went out and found, I think it's Enclave Publishing. They're a publishing house that specifically publishes YA Christian fiction, sci-fi, and fantasy. And bought a bunch of, right? Niche. But also I'm like, the people who read Christian fiction, they deserve to have books to read. So as we all do. So I went out and I used that as a jump off and found a bunch of series and titles and added them to our teen collection. Because why not? Exactly.
So graphic novels, I know
Oh,
keep a lot of your time, but on the graphic novels, so are there like lists of new graphic novels coming out? Or, I mean, the person you said who's doing graphic novels, she knows all the Ant-Man and all the nerdy stuff, but like, there's so many educational ones about, history and.
Yeah, there's not fiction, and our graphic novel selector selects through all issues. One of the few selectors who selects through all age groups. Most selectors are either ordering or selecting for the youth or for adult, with the exception of the graphic novels. She orders all the youth graphic novels, all the adult graphic novels, and I don't know specifically what list, but she's using professional journals. She's on websites. I know she sometimes checks what other libraries might have. She relies on suggested purchases as well, but also just her general knowledge of like what mangas are really popular, like and what anime adaptations are coming out. So it's kind of a mixture. She uses a mixture of all of those as.
It's an amazing. Graphic novel of the road.
Well, the graphic of the no, I was thinking Road of Perdition, but yeah. Yeah.
Yes. An astounding book and yikes indeed, and it's, I mean, the art, things. I said in the eye of the
And I love that format for storytelling. I know back when I used to work at West Romeg school library, that we had a whole collection of Shakespeare books that were Shakespeare. I think they were manga, but they might have been graphic novels. But like just as a format to read Shakespeare in a visual format might work great for kids who couldn't slog through the iambic pentameter of it all. Yeah. It's work. You gotta want it. It's like, where's the shrew? Is she the shrew? I don't see any animals. Like, it's like, but yeah, so that's more or less how we find the titles. A lot of it is a mixture of professional journals, secret social media stuff, and people like you. Like, it's like people that just tell us, hey, I was going through some suggested purchases that were like, they really love detective novels from other countries. And I'm like, all right, let me go see what small village is being raided by a serial killer, and a detective has to figure out who it is from, like, I don't know, Ireland. That's a popular one. Or Denmark. That's another place that has a lot of them. Like, let me go find the things that people want. So that was the last W/H. Do we have any other questions about the selection or deselection process or collection management in general?
Pretty thorough.
I try.
Yeah. You have a great job.
Yeah. I love a job. It's great.
I like that whole selection job. That's how it's done.
Maybe they'll take all-
Actually, that would be- I would say a good time.
Yeah. Yeah, that's, I mean, you just put in the suggested purchases. That's help us help you. Ready? Any questions for the online crowd? Anyone? Nope. Awesome. Well, this has been John Ebron from Collection Management Services, and I'm gonna let me do this right so I don't break your computer. Yeah, it's one of these. That one. Yeah.
I'm not skilled like that.
It's one of these buttons. I'm looking for, there you are. Eject.
Oh, you can stop sharing.
Oh, yeah.
Are
Yeah.
you gonna share something?
No, mine's not. Well, I guess I could. So yes, maybe so.
Mhm.
I brought handouts, but we've got a couple of them, so I'll.
Share this one.
It's a great screensaver, by the way.
Close it. Okay, yeah. In the presentation, close that window. And that brings it back here. So, at this one. And I will stop sharing temporarily. That way it will let me unplug. I'm going to assume we're cool. There we go. Unplug your mouse back in. Okay, you're live.
Thank you, John.
Thank
Yeah.
you.
Thanks for having me.
saving your sign for next time, right?
I bring it to all my meetings. It's a running joke. Because I've been here for like a decade or something. It was like, hey, wow.
Is that Olivia with us or is that a guest?
Not sure I
Oh.
couldn't hear anything from them.
Oh, okay.
She's. Maybe it's me too.
I assumed it was Olivia, but you know what happens when you listen.
Oh, it is. Sorry, I joined by phone today.
Oh, hi. Okay, good. I just noticed it had a phone number. I was like, oh. All right. Did you want me to go next?
Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah.
All right. Okay.
I didn't say that out loud.
No, that's okay. Let's see here. Well, I have, so I thought I would share with you our newly adopted core values. Because it was kind of a process that we went through. And it's part of the strategic planning process or part of our strategic plan. So I guess if you guys want to take, here, I'll take one and then pass it on. And if Misty Rose was here, I don't know, a few months ago maybe, and this is just a page from there, but we didn't have the core values in that document. It was our, where we talked about the strategic plan and our mission and vision and core services and things like that. And at the time, I was working with staff to adopt our core values. And so that was, and we recently did that. And so now it's included as a whole. And so, so I just kind of handed the sheet, and let me see if I can get you guys this online, because I'm pretty sure I have the whole thing on my computer here. I just have to access it. You guys are gonna watch my whole values, and it is oh, actually, sorry, it's not there. It is this one. Okay. So this is the document that you might, can I move this?
Should be able to.
Yeah. Oh, there we go. Okay, good. And let me, I'm doing it wrong. Sorry, I hit the wrong thing. I gotta go to here and share.
I think it's the box with the arrow up.
The,
Below that.
oh,
Right there next
Next to
to
the red
the
phone.
little microphone,
Back to you.
the black arrow.
black
Ah.
arrow. Oh, that, yep, sorry, didn't see it. Okay, excellent, thank you. Okay, here we go, share. And, let me find it. It is, I've got all sorts of stuff up. Where is it?
I think you closed it by accident.
Did I? Oh, man. Okay, let me go back. Okay, it is right here. Okay.
When everybody's looking over your shoulder.
Okay, and no, and typically I was, where it is. Oh, there's the whole thing. Where is it? It's there. So did it share? Probably not.
Should be able to click.
No sharing yet.
Yeah, it's not. Okay, well, I don't want to really share this whole file. But let me try this and see if this works, because now can you guys see it?
I can just see the
File.
files, the list of
Yeah.
files.
Okay, so we don't want to share that then. Oh my goodness. Hold on, let me get rid of this. Stop sharing. Share.
I always find the easiest is sharing screen, and then you just put the right thing on the screen.
There it is. There we go. Now can you guys see it?
Yay.
Yay.
But
Okay, sorry.
yes,
Usually I shut everything off on my laptop before I bring it here. This time I was, because of the hoopla in that room next door, I did not. Okay. Okay, so actually what I'm just gonna do, do you remember this document? This was the one that Misty Rose kind of went through. And at the very end, this is the one that we're looking at here. So it has, let me see if I can make it bigger here. And somehow move these over here. Okay, so we got our mission, our vision, our values, and our core services. So, so we went through a whole strategic planning process with a consultant, and this kind of, it was going on before I got here. And when I got here, we were kind of coming to the end of it and finalizing everything. And so we had a whole bunch of objectives and goals and things that we needed to work on for the next 3 years. And that became our strategic plan. And in the process, though, we hadn't actually sat down and looked at our mission and our vision and our values and our core services. And so we, and I say we, like as in leadership, saying, well, let's look, we want to do that. We didn't do it through the strategic planning process. Let's do it now. So that kind of became part of one of the work groups that I was leading. And so we looked at our mission, our vision, and our core services. And we didn't really change a whole lot. I think we tweaked some language in the vision. We added like the municipality of Anchorage, because it was one of the things when I was talking with some staff over at Girdwood, and it just referenced Anchorage. And, you know, so they kind of gave input like, well, maybe if we say the municipality of Anchorage. And so we got some feedback. So we kind of tweaked that a little bit. And the core services, I think we refined these. They really didn't change a whole lot. I think we added a new one and refined the others. But it was the core values that leadership felt like, we weren't necessarily all on the same page. Like what, you know, so I said, well, why don't I go out, you know, with staff and lead some sessions, and collectively we can, as a whole library, you know, system, adapt. Thank you, John. Our core values. So that is what I did. And it was a really interesting process. And I thought it was, I did something similar before in another library, and I found it was really helpful to kind of like, you know, especially when you're coming in new, to meet everyone and kind of get input and just learn. It helps me learn more about the community. And so I led some sessions, and well, Rebecca was part of it. She attended one of them, but and so we had 9. So I went to every branch. So all the branches, and then we had 5 at LUSAC. And I think one of the ones at LUSAC was a combination of people from the branches and LUSAC, but most of them were, if, you know, Eagle River was at Eagle River, and, you know, Garish was at Girdwood, and the LUSAC staff came to LUSAC ones, except for that one. And so kind of went, you know, what's the difference between a vision and your mission and your core services and your values. And so your values are your guiding principles for the organization. And so we kind of looked at, so I asked like some questions. What is important at the Anchorage Public Library, and what is unique about working here? What do we do better than anyone else? What principles guide our success? And what is APL superpower? And so getting that information from staff, and then kind of after we took it all in, then we started organizing it. And so came up with different things. So I have a whole bunch of them. So from each session, you know, so like Muldoon, they picked accessibility, culture of care and respect, curiosity, empowering, flexibility, and then, you know, what that all means to them. And then we went on to different ones, and there were definitely some trends. There was like integrity, professionalism, mutual support. So it was really interesting. So then I brought all that back to the leadership team. And then we had the kind of the hard job of how do we narrow it down, because like, I don't think I want any more than 6. So how are we going to do that? So we tried to find patterns and similarities, because a lot of times, like the word that was used, let's just say community, the meaning to one group was different from the meaning to another group. And so what we wanted to capture was the meanings and then pick a word. And so that at least it may not have been the exact same word that everybody used, but the meaning was the same. And so that's kind of what we did with here. So we ended up with access, and then we wanted to be simple so that we could help, remember things. And so we welcome all people. I mean, that was just like, okay, let's just make it simple. And we are committed to reducing barriers to library resources. So we wanted to have like an internal focusing one and more of an external focusing one. And so community, so you can see all of this. So these are now our newly adopted core values that represent what everybody, felt like APL is all about and why we're here and what we're doing and all of that. So just wanted to kind of
How different is this than
what it was before.
it was? Yeah.
So the words, so before we had, I think it was access and equity. And then like as one, like it was like access and equity, and then community and learning. And the bullets were different. So now, and the equity, because equity did come up in some of these groups, but the meaning was more, it was defined more as, I think, like the welcoming all people. So yes. So whereas the definition more of access was kind of the reducing barriers part and the equity, but most people use the word access over equity. So we ended up putting both meanings together, but picking one word. And then we ended up picking access. And community was slightly different. I don't remember exactly what it was, but it wasn't the same as what these are. Learning was different too. Curiosity was a new thing. That was something it wasn't there before, but people talked about it. I think literacy and lifelong learning was a part of it before. And then open to new ideas and committed to evolving and growing with our community. I don't think that was part of learning, but that kind of came out with the whole
That's good, because that makes it go both ways then.
yeah.
We're learning from the community, and the community learns from us. Yeah.
Yes. And I remember that it was the curiosity one. I think the first session I led was at Muldoon, and they picked curiosity, and they were talking about how patrons come to the library because they're curious, but we also, help them and find information, and we're curious and wanting to grow, and yeah. So anyway, it was interesting. Yeah, and I think what I took away from it, and probably especially at the branches, was just that the staff really, there is that connection to their community. Like the Mountain View staff really were just, their community was so important to them, and being there for them, and it made them feel good that they were a space that people could come to. And then same way with Eagle River, it was like, they know their patrons, and the patrons know them, and it was, this whole, I don't know, like community feeling. And anyway, so it was kind of nice. Yeah. And like at Girdwood, I remember we're talking about things, and they were talking about just the way you feel when you enter the library there, which if you've gone to Girdwood, it's totally different than walking into one of the other libraries. You do kind of feel like it's like a relaxing place. So yeah, that was important to them. So yeah.
How does this differ from ones from other libraries? And it seems like a lot of this would be pretty similar, no matter where you go.
Yeah. I mean, libraries most libraries have adopted these, they would have a mission, a vision. Not all libraries have visions, but, and I've worked at libraries that haven't had core values before, but I think it's really important to have them. But as far as what these are, I don't know. I mean, I really do think they represent the library, so they're not all going to be the same because not every library kind of has a different community, so a different feel. Yeah.
It's interesting, core values, you might think are so basic, they never change, sort of
Right.
platform ultimate, but sort of looking at values every 5 years or so makes sense. Not just
Yeah.
the language changes, but the priorities.
What are they?
You said
Right.
when you started, you said there was tension around this.
Well, it wasn't tension. It was just that when we started looking at like the vision, we were all like, oh yeah, like why would we want to change that? It's simple, it's easy, it says what, it was. But when we got to the values, for one, I think some of them had more than one bullet and some of them didn't. So there wasn't that consistency between each value has the same number of bullets underneath. And then one of them was access and equity. And so I think we were trying to, we just like, and then that was when I said, well, because I had done it before and I thought, oh, maybe this would be a good thing to get to know staff better and to understand and to go out and just see so that they don't think we're just moving words around and all that it's like, no, we're going to start from scratch. But it was kind of interesting that we ended up with 3 of the same words, but they didn't necessarily have the same meaning. Like our community, I think, was pretty different from whatever community was before. Yeah.
Comments? Comments?
Yeah, I think that's pretty clear.
So what is our superpower?
Well, okay, let me tell you. Let me see
Why-
what
why-
some
why don't
people
you
said
start?
our superpower.
Whenever I hear.
Who gets the cape?
So a lot of groups said that our superpower was our staff, and I would agree. Like the ability to be able to work together and to, like, if you have a question or a concern or something like that, to find somebody who might be able to help you, and that, you might be an expert in one area and Rebecca is more knowledgeable in another area, and just, like us together as a whole is like, we're the superpower. So, and I would agree with that. Collectively, we are.
Something very, staff feels about each other too.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah, so that we definitely wanted to have internal, like that's where we
Yeah, I
create
think
environment.
integrity, right? And then even
Yeah.
Here's the previous one.
Oh, there you go. Where'd you find that one?
It is in the 2019 strategic plan. It is,
Oh, on the G drive?
yeah.
Oh, okay.
So
I
what are
probably
what
have
are
to
the
go.
4 headlines on that?
Yeah, what does it say? Maybe we can just share it that way. Because the G drive is even larger than my drive.
Um, what are the what's?
The 4 headlines that for me. Access, community, integrity, learning.
Oh, access and equity. We ensure all people have free and equal access to information in library spaces. We are committed to racial and social equity in a just society. Community is we maintain a library that is safe, welcoming, and responsive to community needs. We provide excellent service that is confidential, non-judgmental, and non-partisan. And learning, we actively facilitate and promote literacy and lifelong learning.
Right, that was the one that only had one bullet. I remember that. Yeah. So, I mean, actually, there's more here than there, but,
Well,
yeah.
yeah, the umbrellas are bigger than the general.
Yeah.
Okay.
Nice. All right,
Cool.
thanks. Let's see. Stop sharing. So,
So Marjorie reminded me that I had to say things out loud instead of just think them, about our agenda, so. We have no disclosures, no unfinished business, but Wade, you wanted to bring up something new business.
Right, I mentioned this already to Marjorie. My daughter is a botanist for the National Park Service, in Fairbanks. And she's recently published a book on lichens. And now she's working on a book about poisonous plants. And there's a couple of flyers here. If you want to participate, answer a poll about poisonous plants in Alaska. Yeah, I'd like to get these posted somewhere so people can scan it and take part in the poll.
You post it here in the library.
Well, she's got one.
I've got one to
She's got one.
think about putting it on the community bulletin board.
But anyway, she's very ambitious. She writes books and she goes out in the field service and goes out to the gates of the Arctic and
Neat.
Is that it? For your, is it part of the game?
that's my part of
Your,
the.
your shilling for your daughter?
Yes, of course I am. I'm a proud papa.
So when Wade was talking to me earlier, I said, that poison. And that's the last time I was seriously attacked by poison ivy and poison oak in my over 40 years. But hadn't heard of something before.
Well, don't go skinny dipping around wild celery or, around Devil's Club.
Oh, yeah.
The berries on the Devil's Club are poisonous.
Yeah, I was attacked by a bunch of nettles at my daughter's house this summer.
Oh, yeah.
That hurt. So,
But the doll's eye berries, basically, if a berry is upright, like doll's eye, it's poisonous. If they're hanging, they're safe. That's a general rule, but I don't know how specific it is. And my daughter's book hopefully will clarify all those distinctions. So she goes by Celia Hampton Miller. She hyphenates it so that her name isn't so white bread. So if you see her byline, actually, I think we need to get her lichen book here.
Yeah, I was wondering about that, if we actually had the book or we were gonna buy the book. Or get the book.
I'll text her.
Okay.
Margie, would you like to talk to us about your board report?
Oh, sure. Okay. So let's see, board report. Oh, before we talk about the board report, we want to do the board nominee candidates or? Yes.
please.
Okay, so I do know that we have the municipality received 3 applications. And so it does sound like they will probably be moving forward with those, but it won't be until April. So
They received 3 and they're accepting all 3?
that's what it sounds like. I mean, they kind of pass them on to me and I'm gonna pass them back and say, sure, they look good to me. So,
Faster process.
yeah, I mean, so then they go through the other process, but looked fine to me, so.
As in no process.
So kind of excited about that. Yeah,
Yeah, very quick question for you.
I'm sorry.
Are we able to know who these, oh, I'm sorry. Are we able to know who these applicants are before they're confirmed, or should we just wait till April?
Oh. I don't remember names, quite honestly, off the top of my head, but I do know one is from the Muldoon area.
That's good.
Yeah. So we'll probably have to wait till April.
Well, they, does go through to the assembly for approval, don't they?
They do, yeah, so I can't guarantee that they'll be approved, but it looks like they're gonna be, I mean, I was asked to just look through these and then give input or something, so my input is gonna be to move forward with them. Yep.
No more worrying about quorum.
Right. And in the meantime, I don't know if we have any more, because I think that was about a week and a half ago or something that I was sent those, so.
Because I think a month ago you said there was one.
There was one, yes, and so I guess since then we got 2 additional ones, so. Yeah. Cause yeah, Olivia, there was somebody who was interested, I think that you knew, right?
Yeah, and I'm not, I think he lives close to, I guess DeBar is close to Muldoon. It's part of
Yeah.
town, so.
It might be the same person that, you mentioned.
Yeah, they could be. Cool.
Okay.
Glad we have 3 people. That's exciting.
Yay. Mhm. Okay. Let's see. Okay, so board report. I typically just highlight some different things on here, so I thought this time around I would highlight our outreach, the early literacy outreach librarian, who his position is actually funded through the alcohol tax. Yeah.
Is it the alcohol tax still, or is it gonna be through is that changing to ACE funds, to the marijuana?
Well,
The one that's. I don't know.
alcohol, because we're doing a presentation on like our goals and all that, and with the alcohol tax money, so I think it's still with
They
alcohol.
must have.
Okay,
Because I know that they were.
talking about, yeah,
Yeah.
so I think at least us reporting last year, it's alcohol tax. So yeah, so I guess second bullet on here with the recent accomplishments and mentions, Kendall doing a whole bunch of different story times out there. And so she does a whole lot of work under information and recent accomplishments, passing out booklets. And so the Best Beginnings, or mentions the Best Beginnings newsletter, that's another program that's funded through the alcohol tax. And so I guess they kind of work sometimes together in that capacity with doing different type of outreach and early literacy programs. Yeah, so it's definitely a value. What else did I highlight? Oh, kind of mentioning our library in a box kit. So under next steps coming soon, page 2, information. We've got Sandy Lukes is working with the State of Alaska Department of Health and the American Heart Association to create blood pressure monitoring library in a box kit. So that's kind of neat. So I was hoping to bring somebody who builds
So
those.
that's called cuffs and everything?
I think so, yeah. So
Yeah.
you can check out a whole kit that would help you, I guess, with your blood pressure monitoring. So I'm not exactly sure what's going to be in it, but
Well, my daughter says that she sent the library a couple of copies in January. It's somewhere in your acquisitions pile. It might be at the bottom of the pile or thrown away. The park historian told me he sends everything he publishes to libraries unsolicited, so I did the same.
oh, okay. Well, they probably got it then. Yeah, it's
Where's our collection guy when we?
I know. Well, and he didn't mention a whole lot about so that the vendor used to do all of our processing. And, and your records would be in the system. And so when we kind of lost the vendor and we're now in the RFP process for a new one, we're doing all that ourselves. Oh, it's so much.
It's exhausting.
Yes.
Like it's yeah.
There's so many books to be processed, so it's
Yeah.
unfortunate. It's just taking longer to get things out on the shelves, so that could be part of the reason.
Yeah, you have to figure out where to put it and where to, and when that's the beauty of vendors, right? I mean, that,
Yes.
yeah.
You set up your profile and it
Yeah.
takes a while to set it up, but once you do, yeah, it comes like with a record in the catalog. It has its shelf location, has a spine label, has a book jacket, and
Yeah.
it's almost shelf ready, you know?
Yeah, that's a huge.
And now you just get the book and
Like,
I know.
Yeah, yeah. Of that RFP. Yeah.
Yes, they're in the middle of it right now, so.
Where are the kits? Where can we find the kits in the library, or do you have to request them and they get taken out of archive? I'm
Yeah, it's a
curious
good
because
question.
I was in Kenai Library recently with my granddaughter and we're checking out the kids' science kits and they're on a shelf there.
So that's a good question. Right
So-
now, so at least the adult library in a box kits are on the third floor where the, most of the adult collection is. And in kind of like a storage area. So you don't see them.
Okay.
We have talked about that because one of the plans we're working on right now is a design for the third floor, which would include the Alaska collection and all that. And we were talking about, is there something that we could do to make those more visible in the new design? Because kind of out of sight, you might not know that they exist. And yeah,
I didn't know that it's,
It's very cool. And for
yeah,
the science kits at the Kenai Library, I just sent my granddaughter over there. It's like, you tell me what you want.
yeah.
Astronomy today? Okay.
And I think the STEM kits are behind too. It's probably so they don't walk out the door and take like pieces out of the kits and
Oh,
wouldn't know
yes.
about it and all that stuff. So there's a reason, but I mean, that's what we're hoping. Maybe in the new design, there's a way that we could keep it behind, but maybe visible, so that you could see, oh, I don't want that one or something like that.
Like at Walmart where they have things locked up but you can see.
But you can see it, yeah. I don't know how we'll do
I
it,
don't
but
know,
yes,
but,
but yeah, that's how it is.
It's feel tough.
But I'll try to get somebody to come and talk about those kits so we can learn more.
Are these blood pressure monitoring? It's actually blood pressure monitoring tools.
like the ones that the doctor.
I'm guessing so. I mean, I'm thinking that she's getting, yeah, so that what you check out would be something that you could actually, monitor,
I
check your
think I'd
blood
still
pressure.
rather have it done at the doctor so they can interpret it.
Yeah. But I don't know, I
I
thought
don't
it was a
know.
good idea. But I remembered you mentioning you like the library in a box kit, so I wanted to highlight that.
I love those ones.
Let's see, winter reading challenge is going well. It ended, yeah, right?
15th, I think.
Yeah, okay. Cause, yeah, and it was really popular because we ran out of pizza, certificates, I think,
no.
like, yeah, and so we had to give people like IOUs or whatever, so that's good though, that it was that popular. What else did I see here? Our Lucky Day collection launched yesterday with St. Patrick's Day. So if you go on the first floor and like you enter through the gates, you will see a collection that says Lucky Day. And so it's popular materials that probably do currently have a whole bunch of holds on the titles, but these are materials that you cannot place holds on. So we take all those popular materials, put them on the shelf. It's your lucky day. So you're gonna, if you like to read, bestsellers and things like that, then, or something that's really trendy, you'll find it there and you can check it out. If you already have a hold on the title because like your number 5 or you're waiting for it, when you check it out, the computer system will automatically remove your hold. And so then it decreases the hold list too. So then
Yeah,
the next
that's
person gets theirs faster. It's their lucky day, it's a bunch of lucky days happening. So we're trying that. And we've got one going online as well in Libby or Overdrive /Libby. But we haven't advertised that one yet so much because we're still trying to figure out exactly how it works. But the idea is the same, that you go, you know, you have a hold on something in Libby, but you can log in and you can look at the Lucky Day collection. And if you find something that you like, that you already have a hold on, you can check it out and then it'll take your hold off and then put somebody else up in the queue.
Cool.
Is that the display that's at the bottom of the stairs?
It's kind of right by like by the whole pickup shelf.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's
Right
it.
when you walk
I
in.
thought it was a
right
St.
there.
Patrick's Day because it's a Lucky, so. now I kinda get it.
Oh, yeah. Wow.
Okay.
So I guess in the summer, people will be like, what? Like now it just looks like a St. Patrick's Day collection, but that we decided to launch it on St. Patrick's Day because we were calling it Lucky Day. So we said, oh,
Why not extend that? Exactly.
Yeah.
we said, we'll do the big launch on the luckiest day of the
That-
year.
That's a cool idea.
So we'll see how that goes. So yeah, we're hoping to try to, I don't know, make people happy, obviously, you know, finding something that they want, but also reduce the whole list. Oh, let's see. Downtown library's moving along. We finished selecting finishes and we're finalizing furniture and fixtures right now, furniture really. And, yeah, and it's still on target to go out to permitting in April and then out to bid thereafter. So we'll see how that all goes. And what else?
I see there's maybe I'm scooting.
Yeah, go ahead.
An event tomorrow about the bonds.
That is tomorrow. Yes. So
Cool.
the bond for the library is the one for a design for the second floor youth services.
Mm.
So that's what it is.
I'll vote for it.
I vote for all the bonds.
Yeah, me too.
So yeah, that's in the Ann Stevens room or area outside of it, I guess.
No, it's great that it's happening here. I mean.
Yeah,
Pitch where we sit in the bonds too, might as well.
that's right. I'll be at a table with somebody there. Yeah, so I don't know, any questions or any other?
There's a number here that stuck out and I'm
I'm sure.
It's kind of fascinating here under the, what is this, internal operations and statistics?
Oh, yeah.
And spaces for individual or group use, 44,000 visitors. Lusac has 22,000 and Mountain View has 14,000. So what does that mean? It seems like that's a lot
Of
a lot of visitors for a small library. So what does?
this is supposed to be our door count,
Okay.
is my understanding. And I noticed the same thing that Lusac and Mountain View, like, yeah.
Yeah, it's like, wow, they get
And
some
it-
people in there then. But
yeah.
doesn't, that's good.
Yeah, I'm
Oh.
gonna follow up on that. I don't know, because in both cases, the door counter isn't really, like here, the door counter is at the gates, you know, so if you go into the library and you just hang out in the atrium and leave, you're not gonna get counted. And same way at Mountain View, if you go in there, go to the meeting room, let's just say, or just hang out in the area before you go through their gates, you're not gonna get counted either. So, because I can see a lot of people going in and out at Mountain View, like they really do.
Oh.
And it might count, like if we were really counting the front door, before you go into the library, there probably would be loads because I think people kind of hang out and then they leave and then they come back, you know what I mean? So it would be counting lots of times.
Or if you're counting, I believe that's the assembly or the.
Yeah, yeah, but we don't count those. Yeah, so I'll have to, because I was surprised too. I was glancing and I was like, wow.
I mean, if that's right, it's cool that Mountain View's used that much.
Yeah.
That's my thought.
So I was over there one Friday, not too long ago, and I was really amazed at how many people were there and how active it was. And I was there for maybe 2 hours before close, so like from 4 to 6, and it was hopping. There was a lot of activity, yeah. So, I mean, all the computers were taken and people were walking back and forth and, you know, like into the library, into the lobby and, you know, and so, I mean, it really was lots of activity.
Maybe
So,
I'll do it for-
so maybe it is true. Yeah.
I know I was told that Mountain View uses the highest amount of the internet. They have the lowest amount of circulation, but the highest usage for.
Well, that would make sense, but
Yeah.
maybe that community has less computers at home.
Yeah.
True.
Yeah. Yeah. It's very different.
Because I never use the computers at the library because I've got my phone and I've got my desktop at home.
Mm-hmm.
There's no
Okay.
reason for me to.
I've got 3 computers right here.
I think we lost Olivia.
Oops. And I didn't realize it was already 7 o'clock.
Oh, boy, yeah.
I just saw that too.
I'm done.
Anything else?
Sorry,
you
I'm
wanna
done.
Share, Margie?
No, thank you.
Okay, board comments? Anybody else wanna?
That was interesting and informative.
You know, the great presentations I had.
Yeah,
John
it was
did.
good. You did a good
Very
job.
cool. Makes me want to be a collector or a selector. You know, I'm already a collector.
I think his contact information is online.
Yeah,
so-
no, seriously, I've got my retirement.
All right.
Hey, wait, I've got a friend,
We-
National Park, I'm sorry.
I'm sorry, go ahead.
Oh, I was totally on a
Gee.
different subject. It was non-library stuff.
My subject is we're allowed to adjourn without a vote because we reached our time.
Oh,
Oh, very good. Okay.
So now you
Thanks,
can say
Megan.
whatever you want.
So wait.